The sprawling estate of Mr. Arthur Remington, a man of immense wealth and a heart captivated by the untamed beauty of the wild, was no ordinary home. Nestled amidst lush gardens and towering trees, it housed not just a family of 5, but also a magnificent Bengal tiger named Rajah. Arthur, with a twinkle in his eye and a voice booming with admiration, would often gather his 3 children, Maya, the eldest, followed by the twins Rohan and Rahul, and regale them with tales of tigers. "Did you know, my dears," he'd begin, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, "that a tiger's roar can shake the very ground beneath your feet? Their paws, strong enough to bring down prey twice their size, move with the grace of a seasoned dancer." He would describe with vivid detail the tiger's prowess in the jungle, their hunting skills, and their majestic presence. "They are the kings of the jungle, truly," he'd declare. "Even the mighty lion would think twice before challenging a tiger in a one-on-one duel," he said with an air of pride. Rajah had been a part of the Remington household since he was a tiny mewling cub, rescued after a sudden forest fire. Arthur, seizing the opportunity to bring a piece of the wild into his world and share its magnificence with his children, had taken him in, naming him after a legendary king. Raised within the confines of the estate, Rajah was more a large, striped house cat than a ferocious beast of the jungle. He would lounge in sun-drenched corners of the garden, swat playfully at butterflies with his massive paws, and even allow the children to groom his luxurious fur. Maya, Rohan, and Rahul grew up under Rajah's watchful gaze, their minds filled with their father's stories. They were local celebrities, the Tiger Kids, as they were fondly called. Every child in their neighborhood, and even from distant parts of the city, yearned for a glimpse of Rajah, this symbol of power and ferocity. The Remington children, basked in the reflected glory of their extraordinary pet, carried an air of pride, a sense that they were somehow a part of Rajah's wild magnificence. They were convinced that they were living alongside one of nature's most formidable creatures, a being of unmatched power and skill. "Imagine controlling the powerful being," Maya would often say to her friends, her eyes sparkling, and her friends would look at her with a sense of awe and admiration. One sunny afternoon, fueled by a thirst for adventure and a desire to explore the unchaperoned corners of their city, the siblings decided to venture into unfamiliar streets, Rajah trotting by their side. "Let's see how different dogs behave when they see our Rajah," Rohan said, a mischievous glint in his eyes. The familiar streets soon gave way to quieter, less traveled alleys, and this thrilled all the kids. "I have never been to this part of city before. It is thrilling," screamed Rahul with an excited tone. As they turned a corner, they spotted him, a scrawny street dog dozing under the shade of a banyan tree. He was a mottled brown with ribs showing through his patchy fur and one ear flopped limply. "Look at that poor creature," Maya said, her voice tinged with pity. But Rohan, his adventurous spirit getting the better of him, saw an opportunity. "Let's have some fun," he grinned, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "Rajah, go on," he urged, nudging the tiger forward. "Just pretend to attack him. Let's see how he reacts. It'll be hilarious to watch him scramble away." He chuckled, imagining the dog's terrified flight. Rahul joined in his twin's excitement. "Yes, go on, Rajah, do it please," he pleaded, clapping his hands. Rajah, accustomed to a life of gentle play and mock hunting games with the children, hesitated for a moment. This was different. This wasn't a game they usually played. But the excited voices of the children, their eagerness, pushed him forward. He padded towards the sleeping dog, mimicking a stalk, his massive body low to the ground, although his heart wasn't truly in it. Suddenly, Rajah lunged, letting out a playful growl, expecting the dog to bolt in terror. But the street dog, startled awake, had no time to react, no time to flee. Instinct took over. He met Rajah's charge head-on, a snarl ripping from his throat, a desperate act of self-preservation. He leaped, not away but towards Rajah, meeting the tiger's clumsy pounce with a surprising agility. To everyone's astonishment, including his own, the dog managed to deflect Rajah's paw with a swift, practiced move. Mayau! Attack again, Rajah, she said with encouraging tone. Attack? But carefully, he might bite, she continued with a worried tone. The children, expecting a quick and comical scene, were stunned. They urged Rajah on. Go on, Rajah. Show him who's boss. But Rajah, used to the predictable, controlled environment of his home, was out of his depth. He swiped again, but the dog, battle-hardened from a life on the unforgiving streets, dodged with ease. He weaved and darted, his movements honed by countless encounters, fueled by a desperate need to survive. Each of Rajah's attacks was met with a fierce counter, a snarl, a snap, a quick strategic retreat. The street dog, though smaller and weaker in appearance, had something Rajah lacked, the harsh experience of survival, the instinct honed by necessity. He scratched at Rajah's face with his claws, a move born of countless fights for scraps of food and safe sleeping spots. Rajah, unused to such raw aggression, flinched, his pampered life offering no preparation for this kind of encounter. He tried to use his weight to pin the dog down, but the smaller creature was too quick, too agile. He slipped through Rajah's grasp, his movements fluid and practiced. What's happening? Rahul whispered, his voice trembling, his eyes wide with disbelief. Why is not able to catch the dog, he said with confusing tone. Proud image they had of Rajah, the invincible predator, was crumbling before their eyes. The fight, if it could be called that, was a blur of fur and snarls, dust and panicked yelps. Each time Rajah lunged, the dog met him with a fierce counterattack, his movements honed by a life lived on the edge, a life where every day was a battle for survival. The dog is showing great courage and tried to distract the tiger. Rajah, be careful, screamed Maya. The street dog's movements were a stark contrast to Rajah's hesitant advances. He was a whirlwind of motion, a testament to the harsh realities of his existence. Rajah, on the other hand, seemed almost clumsy in comparison, his pampered life having dulled his natural instincts. He is not able to move freely, looks like he is little slower, Rahul said with a sad tone. Finally Maya, her initial amusement replaced by a growing unease and a pang of pity for both animals, stepped forward. Rajah, that's enough, she commanded, her voice firm but gentle. Come back. Now. She had seen enough. The once comical scene had turned into something else entirely, something that left a bitter taste in her mouth. Rajah, perhaps relieved to be called away from the unsettling encounter, retreated, his tail tucked between his legs, a picture of dejection. The street dog, panting but victorious, stood his ground for a moment, watching them leave before slinking back to his shady spot under the banyan tree. The walk back home was silent. Children, their earlier excitement gone, were lost in their own thoughts, the image of the defeated tiger etched in their minds. The once familiar streets now seemed foreign, the vibrant city sounds muffled by the weight of their realization. Even the usually ebullient Rohan was subdued, his earlier bravado replaced by a thoughtful quietness. I thought, Rajah is very powerful, said Rohan with a trembling voice. When they reached home, their father, sensing the change in their demeanor, met them at the gate, his usual jovial greeting dying on his lips as he saw their downcast faces and Rajah's subdued posture. "What happened, my dears?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. "You look like you've seen a ghost." He listened patiently as they recounted the events of the afternoon, his expression shifting from amusement to a thoughtful frown as they described the encounter with the street dog. "We were wrong, father," Maya said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "We thought Rajah was invincible just because he's a tiger. But that street dog, he was so brave, so skilled." She looked at her father, her eyes searching for understanding. It didn't matter that he was smaller or that he wasn't a tiger. He knew how to fight, how to survive. Arthur nodded slowly, his gaze thoughtful. He looked at Rajah, who was now curled up in a corner, licking his wounds, both physical and emotional. "You see, my children," he began, his voice soft but firm, "strength isn't just about what you are born as. It's about what you learn, what you experience, how you adapt. That street dog, he may not have Rajah's size or strength, but he has something just as valuable, the will to survive, honed by a life of hardship." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Rajah, he has lived a life of comfort, of safety. He never had to fight for his food, for his survival. He never had to learn the harsh lessons of the wild." The children listened, their hearts heavy with the truth of their father's words. They had been so blinded by Rajah's majestic appearance, by the stories of a tiger's power, that they had failed to see the reality. "It doesn't matter whether you are born as tiger or dog," their father said with a softer tone. "If you don't face hardship or practice, you will not be able to utilize your true potential," he continued. "It is like you have a sword made of gold, but it is of no use if you don't know how to use it," he explained to kids with an analogy. That night, as the moon cast long shadows across the estate, a decision was made. A decision born not of disappointment, but of understanding, of respect for the natural order of things. The next morning, a team of wildlife experts arrived, their faces etched with the seriousness of their mission. They had come to take Rajah back to the wild, to a sanctuary where he could live among his own kind, learn the ways of the jungle, and rediscover the instincts that had been dulled by a life of captivity. Children watched, their hearts aching, as Rajah was sedated and carefully loaded into a large, sturdy cage. They knew it was the right thing to do, but it didn't make the parting any easier. As the truck carrying Rajah rumbled away, disappearing down the long driveway, Maya, Rohan and Rahul stood together, a silent promise passing between them. They had learned a valuable lesson, a lesson far more profound than any story their father had ever told them. They had learned that true strength comes not from birth or privilege, but from the resilience of the spirit, the ability to adapt and overcome, the courage to face adversity head-on. And they had learned that sometimes the greatest act of love is letting go. The experience had changed them, had opened their eyes to the world beyond their sheltered existence. They had gone out seeking adventure and a display of power, but they had returned with something far more valuable, wisdom, and a newfound respect for the intricate tapestry of life. They realized that every creature, no matter how big or small, has its own unique strengths and its own place in the world. And sometimes the scrawny street dog can teach the mighty tiger a lesson or two.